What happens when you show up to speak at an event and what you thought you were going to get wasn't what you ended up getting in the first place? I'm talking about me showing up at this event today and realizing that the audience was far different than the audience I think I was going to get. All of my preparation, all the work that I had for what I was about to say completely changed minutes before I went out. Check this out. Get a little bit of what I had to share with the Healthy Human Conference up here in Seattle. There's just no way to live if we don't have a solid foundation. Ultimately, we heard that in the Word of God. Jesus says, I am the solid foundation. That's where we stand first and foremost. That's where we get our identity. That's who created us. But then when we take one more step, that's the sure foundation, but the next step must be the foundation of who we are. We can't operate outside of that. And again, we live in a world today with a multitude of competing statements, beliefs, phrases around what it means to live as ourselves. A lot of them are very dangerous. But if you are to open up any self-help book, actually if you just to go into the airport, the bookstore, to Google, self-help is crazy. Like there's just so much information out there. There's some reasonably good pieces of information, I'm sure, but it's really dangerous because all of that is telling us or educating us, by and large, I won't say all, the mass majority is telling us or educating us to be somebody else because it's their way to success, their way to achievement, their way to peace. There are things that we can learn from them, but ultimately we have to find that out for ourselves. Even Pastor Tim Keller out of New York, he says something, I'm going to butcher this quote a little bit, but he says something to the effect that if we look to Jesus as the example of how to live as a human being, Jesus has failed us because he's perfect. We can't live as he lived. So we're not looking to Jesus as the example of how to live. We're giving Jesus, or Jesus is giving us the tools by which we can go live the life that we've been called to live. This is it right here. This is it. One more week, one more month, one more year, one more job, one more promotion, one more time in an attempt to start that business, and then you will finally be out of prison. The reality is you're never getting out because as soon as you get over that hump, you're going to be right on to the next one. And this is exactly why you need to join my Foundations to Freedom Coaching Academy. It will give you the framework. I'm not here to tell you how to get out. I'm going to show you how to use your life, your skill, your talent to get out, to ultimately achieve the success you're after, but beyond that, to find the freedom that you deserve once and for all. The only way that we can perform at our best is to know what our best looks like. If we're looking to a bar that's been set by somebody else, what are we set up for? Failure. In a world of when we're talking about what does it look like to be the best husband? Well, where's the scorecard? We don't really have one. What about the best employee? Organizations don't even really know how to well measure what it looks like to be the best employee. Because some organizations would say the best employee is the one that produces the most. Some other organizations would say that it's the employee that is present the most. Other organizations would say that it's who shows up and models our culture and all our values the most. There's no consistency. And when there's no consistency, again, it's very, very hard to measure that. This is why it's important, again, for us to look inward. Only we are going to know what our best is. This is also why it's very beneficial as you're going through a process like this to work with a therapist, to work with a coach, to work with somebody outside of yourself that's willing to tell you the truth. Because unfortunately, we lie to ourselves more than anybody else. We tell ourselves that we're really good at things that we're not very good at, and we tell ourselves that we're bad at things that we're actually pretty good at. Gaining that knowledge comes by three things: self-awareness. Nobody is too self-aware. I haven't met anybody yet. It takes a lot of work. The second thing is humility. When I was 23, I think, 22, I got my first sales job. I didn't go to college. I got a job right out of high school. My second job was a sales job, and I was good at it fairly quickly. I was very, very thankful for that. But that also became a weakness of mine. Because I was so good, I wasn't willing to listen to other people's feedback. I remember I was about 26. I was the top salesperson in this global corporation that I worked for. And the CEO of the company came to me one day and he said, Ryan, he said, I really encourage you to go get a mentor. And I said, are you joking? Have you seen my numbers? We must be humble in order to gain the feedback necessary to live as the most authentic version of ourselves for us and for the people around us. So self-awareness, humility, and number 3, and this kind of goes hand in hand with humility, is the constant improvement of ourselves. What I'm trying to get across when I say constant improvement is look inward and find ways in which you can be better to benefit yourself and the people around you. This isn't about adding more to what you're doing now. This is about improving on what you're already doing.